It's nearly midnight in Manila. These police are searching for a 7-year-old girl. They've been trying to find her for months. They have evidence she's been sexually abused in videos available on the internet. These horrific crimes are happening all across the Philippines. We're following the teams who are trying desperately to track down the perpetrators and rescue children from abuse, even if it means ripping them away from their own families. Months of covert investigations have led them to this house. The Philippines government has declared a war on online sexual exploitation and abuse of children. But the scale of the fight ahead is staggering. In this unremarkable office in the Philippines National Police headquarters, these people are gathering to do one of the most difficult jobs imaginable. They're police and experts from the Philippines and around the world, and their task is to find and rescue children who are being sexually abused on demand via the internet.
So it doesn't look like he indicated that.
Caleb Carroll, a former US police detective, advises the anti-trafficking NGO International Justice Mission, a founding member of this task force.
COVID drove everybody online, which just fueled the crime type to grow. We're gonna do a follow-up up on her probably then. Existing detection technology, it's just not capable of finding and blocking live streaming sexual abuse. It's a really hard crime type. It's oftentimes very grotesque and violent because you're talking about sexually motivated offenders getting to basically direct in real time the kind of abuse they want to see.
The people paying for and watching the live stream abuse live thousands of kilometres away.
You see the most sexually motivated offenders coming out of the US, and then in second place is Australia in almost every study.
Magandang umaga.
Natalie Rosler is an Australian Federal Police detective and a key part of the task force. She spent 10 years working on child sexual abuse cases in Australia.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Before moving to Manila 12 months ago.
Thank you.
Morning, boss.
Hey, Daisy.
Morning, boss.
Natalie, Matt.
Just got this new.
This morning she's meeting with her colleagues to discuss a new case that's come from police in Australia.
They've got a recent arrest of a 50-year-old male. They found that he had been communicating with a Philippines mobile phone number to a female facilitator, of course based here.
An offender might send a friend request, or they might be on a dating app and they will connect to a facilitator, and from there they negotiate for a child to be sexually abused, and that can be live streamed in the privacy of their own homes.
So during that communication, the male talks about getting some videos of a girl the facilitator has access to, who is reportedly only 12 years old.
How many cases would you and the team be working on now?
We have probably about between 50 to 60 active cases at the moment.
Why do you think such a high volume of Australian offenders are targeting the Philippines?
A lot of the population speak English, which makes it easy for the offenders to communicate and to text and negotiate.
They've sent through photos of the facilitator from...
This team of 3 is a critical part of the chain that connects offenders in Australia with victims in the Philippines.
And they've also got images of our male sending financial payments. Now, if you can look through the financials, just to see whether we can confirm the location of the facilitator here in the Philippines.
Facilitators can be anyone that has access to children, people that live next door, their neighbours, people that know them and are close to them. But sadly, a lot of the time the facilitators can be their parents.
It's 7 a.m. and the task force has had a breakthrough in a case they've been working on for months.
The case officer will just brief us on the update.
They've been analysing videos from the internet of a 7-year-old girl, who we will call Jolene, being sexually abused.
With the help of Dutch Police and Australian Federal Police, we conducted online open source surveillance. After this, we conducted ground surveillance. We were able to locate his residence.
Police believe her mum's boyfriend made and sold the abuse videos, and now they know where to find him.
We will be filing the search warrant before we can pursue the search on the identified location based on the...
As the team prepares the paperwork for a warrant application, their boss, Colonel Portia Manilad, attends to the many other cases on her desk.
These cases are very sensitive, especially if it involves children. It takes a long time before you can come up with definite answers. You need to have some patience, because everything can change overnight.
Colonel Angela Rahano is in charge of what happens next. Is it just one facilitator, or is there multiple in the house?
It can be more than one, but the confirmed target is already there. So we just wait. Okay.
International cooperation has been key to catching perpetrators and rescuing children. In one case, a single lead led the task force to find 15 victims and 5 facilitators, and landed the Australian offender in jail for 15 years for offences related to sexual activity on the internet.
This is a case that originated in South Australia. A male was stopped by Australian Border Force, and they identified that he had child abuse material on one of his phones, and they executed a search warrant on his home.
The man's name is Ian Chappell.
You said there's images on that computer. Describe those images to me.
Well, they're not violent, they're not having sex, they're just nude images.
How old would you say those images of those girls are?
13, 12, 13.
And
among the more than 55,000 videos and images Chappell had was some horrific footage of sexual acts involving children.
Some of the chat logs in this case are probably some of the worst that I've read.
Detective Roessler shows us the extremely revealing Skype chat logs between Chappell and Philippines facilitators.
And this one here where he says, age is no problem to me. And then she says, my 5-year-old, is that okay with you? So there's a 5-year-old child being offered up here.
That's right. And then she sends an image of a small child clothed, and he said, let me watch her get undressed for me. Give me a show.
Chappell paid as little as $40 Australian to watch his victims be sexually abused and exploited.
and they will go back and forward discussing the price.
So they barter like you would for something in a market?
That's, yeah, absolutely correct. For children to be sexually abused and they're bartering for it. I mean, they'll often ask if an offender can just give money now, show later, because they want to put food on the table. And in this case, this lady's constantly asking for money because she's in dire need of some money, but he won't.
His youngest victim was just 3 years old. It's now 10 a.m. The task force looking for Jolene is on the move.
We're heading now to court where the police are going to ask a judge to approve a search warrant. It's possible that they won't approve it, but if they do, that means the police can go to the location, try and arrest the alleged offender and rescue any children they might find inside.
Cases like these are so sensitive, many of those working on them just don't want to be identified.
So this doesn't guarantee the arrest, this is just for a search?
Yes. The purpose of this application is for search.
This lawyer has been up all night writing the warrant application.
What's the likelihood that the judge will accept the application?
It's really hard to say. Again, it will depend on the pieces of evidence that the police officers will present before the judge.
Investigators have been working around the clock on this case. Now they have to present their evidence to the judge. As the hearing drags on, they become more and more anxious.
We've been waiting here at the court for nearly 5 hours for the judge to make a decision on whether or not they're going to issue this search warrant. One of the police officers, who doesn't want to speak on camera, said that this is one of the worst cases they've ever seen, and that makes you realise that every moment that ticks by is another moment that this child is potentially vulnerable to abuse.
There's one thing a police officer has told me that I just can't get out of my head. That in the videos they've seen, Jolene keeps crying and begging for the abuse to stop. At 7 p.m, they finally have a decision.
The judge granted the warrant application.
That took about 8 hours.
Yes. Well, very, very relieved. Our law enforcement partners were very happy.
Police put the plan for the raid into action.
In 10 minutes, ready na tayo. Importante dito, malocate natin pati ang victim.
Tapos arresting yung marked vehicle tsaka security na dito. Security na kayo na.
It's nearly midnight when the investigators head to the suspect's house.
Security! Pasok! Pasok! Oh. Yung mataba, si ano? Ano mo siya? Akan siya?
Wala ka lagusan na, sir? Sa dulo?
Nasaan siya, no? Nasaan si...
Nung trabaho na po siya.
Pero saan sila nakatira?
Nakikita na lang po kami.
Police have gone into this house and they have found the suspect that they were looking for, but they haven't found the child.
To arrest the suspect, police need to find child sexual abuse material in his possession.
Sino nakapag-register? Yung police ng local, naman local. Hanapin mo dyan, yun ang hanapin mo.
We declare his arrest.
So you found a device with more child abuse material in the evidence. What sort of scale of abuse are we talking about? How bad?
Well, it's disgusting. I can't explain it thoroughly.
Jolene is most likely with her mother, who police believe also participated in the abuse.
The really hard thing is that you leave work every day knowing there are still more children out there that you know about. And, you know, it's heartbreaking because they may not know that anybody's even out there looking for them, even though we're trying.
In a quiet part of Manila, there's a special shelter for children who are saved from this catastrophic abuse, where they can start to piece together their shattered lives. Jessa Lazate is a social worker who's often one of the first people on the scene when a child is found during a police operation.
Although I'm trained as a social worker, when you hear their stories, how they were live streamed, how long did they stay in that kind of abuse, how their own mother abused them, exploited them, manipulated them. It's difficult.
The moment of rescue is often deeply traumatic for children.
Rescue operations are often stressful for survivors, especially for very young survivors who may not understand right away why they are being separated from their parents or family members. But we've also seen that some survivors are grateful, are relieved.
Often, kids want to know when they'll be reunited with family members not facing charges.
In our experience, it's like live streaming of child abuse and online sexual exploitation have been normalized at their home. And because it's the people that they trust, the victims suffer complex trauma. It's difficult for them to move forward. We can't give them promise when they can go home. That's the usual question. When can they be reunified with the other victims? When can they see their family, which is normal? And yeah, they won't easily trust us. So it's important that we don't give up on them.
These investigations take their toll on everyone involved. As a veteran officer, Colonel Portia Manilad has seen many times what happens when children are found and taken away from their parents.
The Filipinos, the family ties is very closely knit. When the child is being taken away from the parents, it's really very hard because every time I'm in uniform, I should be tough. You know, I'm also a parent. So I wish that every time I hold them, rescue them, and arrest those parents, I wish I was in civilian clothes. It's my 32 years already in the service, and if you ask me which part of my career is very hard, it's this, the women and children. It's women and children.
Over the past 4 years, the task force has rescued nearly 600 victims and charged 120 facilitators.
In-engage niyo ba? The exact location, ma'am, in Cebu.
Attorney Kathy Nolasco heads up an anti-trafficking division that's part of the task force.
This is actually a supply and demand thing. There's a demand, so the parents here are providing the supply. So if we could work on the demand, maybe we could put a stop on this.
How common is it that facilitators say they're motivated by poverty?
It's actually very common because if we go through the places where we actually conduct these operations, the places are most often than not poverty-stricken.
Do you believe these facilitators have no alternatives?
Of course, that's not true because we always have options. They should be the one providing for the needs of the children, not the other way around.
I think we need to be really careful when we say that poverty drives people to do this, because I don't think that's fair to the people of the Philippines, and I don't think that's fair to the millions of parents and family members in abject poverty around the world that would do everything other than harm their children.
Okay.
Kathy Nolasco's team regularly conducts raids. 3 weeks ago, her team arrested a woman that we will call Marie.
She's engaged in selling her children for online sex, offering her children for a fee so that her children would be engaged in sexual activities online with foreigners.
Yan ba yung evidence? Patingin.
They found key pieces of evidence.
Did find the mobile phones and pocket Wi-Fis and some sex toys. And also we found some receipts, evidence that she was offering her children to other foreigners.
I still find it unfathomable how a parent could sell their child for sexual abuse. But now I have the rare chance to find out. Marie has agreed to speak with me at the detention centre where she's being held.
Are you worried about your children?
This is first time that happened to us that they are far from me. I am far from my family. This is the first time.
What went through your mind when the police officers came to arrest you?
Nothing. Angry.
Angry?
Afraid and angry.
Why were you angry?
Of the situation. Being poor. It's not easy. Sorry.
Take your time. So you're saying it's because of poverty?
When pandemic started, all of us was lost of our jobs.
You were arrested for these crimes towards the end of 2022. The lockdown was over and you continued to do this. How do you explain that?
Just to survive. Rather than seeing my kid sleep with an empty stomach. Rather than see my mom, brother, sister like that, sleeping with stomachs empty.
Marie is facing life in prison.
It's very hard for me to understand as a mother how you could do this to your children.
Maybe because we are not the same. We are not at the same situation. That's why you not understand. We have been there, what we've been through, to stay alive. But maybe when you're in my situation, for sure you're gonna understand me.
That was a lot more complicated than I expected. She clearly really misses her kids. And she seemed very emotional when she was saying that she did this only because she needed the money. I think the one thing that I'm stuck with now is just the realisation that this crime just destroys families.
So if we maybe just leave in the bag.
Put down the older girls then?
Yeah, perhaps.
For the police who spend their lives trying to save these children, who ride a constant wave of successes and setbacks, these are the moments they hold on to.
We've got some donations between Philippine National Police, PNP and the AFP, so that we could come out and visit the shelter here. It is the best part of my job. That's why I'm here. And sometimes you get a little bit emotional because you can see how much they love what we're giving them. When they're riding around on the bikes or even just putting a pair of earrings in, it's amazing. It fills my heart up, and it's why we're here. It's a highlight of my day, that's for sure.
I feel, because I have children also, as a mother, I can feel their happiness. I can also feel their loneliness, and yeah, the feelings that they have right now is mixed emotion. Yeah. So maybe limited love. They, at least for a day or for an hour, they get it from us. So for me, it's a wonderful thing. No words can explain. Yeah.
This isn't some far-off problem. These are the same sexually motivated offenders that want to hurt your children. The offenders are living next door to you and I. If I could send any message to an Australian or a Brit or American that's watching this, or from anywhere, is that while we're talking about the Philippines, this is a problem that originates in our neighborhoods with people that we know and that have access to our children. And are we okay with that? We need to ask ourselves that. I'm not.